So, David, the stage is yours. We are looking forward to hear about how to develop new tools in the field.
Thank you very much. So hi everybody. So I'm David-Alexandre Chanel. I'm an artist, engineer, and entrepreneur, and we're gonna talk about like interactivity in immersive spaces today. So 10 years ago, as John said, we founded like a Theoria studio, and during these 10 years, like, we did like specifically explore like the experiences and how we can use all the potentiality that is brought by new technologies for artistic expression. And it's been a wild ride, and it brought us to make like lots of like artistic projects everywhere in the world. And for those who are not familiar with our line of work, I'll show you like a tiny bit of video. Okay, so just to explain like how we organize in the studio, basically like every year we do like 1 to 2 like artwork. So like as artists, we did stay artists all this time, and we just build something that we want to do. So we try to stay independent and just build whatever we want to build and show it to the public. But as it doesn't provide so much money, we do the rest of the time we do services, and then we work for like other artists, like on theater, dance, opera, etc. Or we work also with brands for like shows, installations, and performances, and of course cities and governments, like festivals, etc. And those 3 last years, we did a lot of museums specifically, and we did a lot of immersive spaces, like all museums, experience center, entertainment park. Like we saw like a huge rise of demand, and so we ended up doing like a lot of immersive spaces. So by immersive spaces, what I mean is big video projection on walls, floor, and mostly like huge spaces where people can go and freely roam whatever they want and take selfies everywhere. basically. And then the last thing we do is R&D, which is like science research. This is something we do since the beginning, and it's very important for us because that's really what that's how we can explore the potential of the new things, because like sometimes things don't exist and we just want to check if we can do it or not, and that's where we do science research. So we did focus like 8 years ago a lot on tracking, all the tracking technologies, and then over the years we worked, many things, but we work on like VFX and special effects for real-time engines, some stuff were not possible that are possible today, and we worked a bit of that for the video mapping and some art installation. And then like more recently, we still do like tracking research and interactivity, and also we do a lot of cognitive science on how we can use cognitive science for art, specifically in virtual environments. But what I'm gonna talk about is mostly immersive space today. And this is my feel-good bullshit slide. I like it, so I keep it. but it's not so wrong actually, because when you start building tools and give it to the other artists, actually you start a bit like shaping at least the scene and what happens. So let me tell you like the story, like the journey on how we came to do like interactivity in immersive spaces. So actually 10 years ago, like in 2012, we had this project. We were working like with a Japanese choreographer called Anna Toyama, and there was this stage. So it was like a theater stage, like standard, and they wanted to project video on a 9x9 surface on the floor. And what you can see here is the audience seats. It's kind of stairs, but it's audience seats. And the technical booth was just behind the audience. And so we were like, okay. The year before, in 2011, we did like the first like interactive mapping. So to put a bit of context, in 2010-11, like there was a Kinect, and this was really the start of interactivity, and interactive installations and work were almost non-existent at that time. Some artists were doing a tiny bit, but it was, and then the Kinect came, and we saw more and more interactive work. And so we did like the year before interactive mapping, actually at the Light Festival of Lille. And then we're like, okay, we have this stage. So would it be cool if like the dancer can move, and then like there could be like visuals, like free visuals, like moving with the dancer on stage? And we're like, okay, like we just did hack the Kinect the year before, and we say, okay, let's try it. And then we say, okay, so let's put like a camera, right? So on stage, so there was like 2 dancers on that show. So it's like, okay, it's gonna be easy, 2 dancers. Let's put a 3D camera. But it was not enough. So we could cover like approximately like half, a bit more of the stage. So like, okay. And then like another problem is like you cannot run like 30 meters of USB cable of your camera until the technical booth at the audience. So we had to find solutions. So say, okay, let's put like 2 cameras, 2 computers, and let's put like those 2 cameras and computers and put a network and connect it to the laptop. That would be like at the technical booth and producing the content. So we ended up with a fairly complex system where we had to do like algorithms to detect the dancers, and then like sending the data to the laptop and calibrating, and then sending it to the content and providing interactive content and having it on stage. But we made it. And so it was a prototype, but it worked. And then this is like the show we did 10 years ago. So it's actually not so bad still. So we went with like, it's part of the show, and this part, it was like a fabric simulation that we did project on the floor, and then dancer could move around and they would make like this fabric react. And this was like one of the moments of the show. And this was nice because they could like just like improvise and the content would move. So this was the first time we could do this. And of course, technical setup was awful. It was like kind of Mac Minis on the ceiling, etc. Was a nightmare. And when we had to tour with it, the nightmare was even worse, as you can imagine. But we actually like, it was nice. So we said, okay, we should do more of that. Then like later we had like, some years later we had like those museums projects. And then when you do permanent space, so it's usually bigger than a theater stage, and you have more people, like sometimes like 200 1,000, 2,000 people every day going through the space, and so it has to be super stable, it has to be quick to monitor, it has to be automatized, etc. You have to put more cameras, and also like people starting asking us if we could make like the wall as a touch surface, so people could also interact with the wall. And that's what we did. And then with this, we added like some new sensors for the wall, and we also discovered new stuff. Like for example, like in the museum space, your computer doing like all the content is somewhere in the closed room, so you don't have visual on it. So we had to also build like a remote system, like you can find in media servers, to be able to calibrate your space, etc. And this is kind of the thing we did like those last years. We did a lot of immersive rooms, like in France and also internationally. And they were basically doing this kind of system we started doing. And then like 10 years later, kind of, finally we said, like, okay, so we've been using this, doing interactive projects all that time, and why not like having this system and giving it to people and other studios so they can also use it? So that's where we came up with this, which is called Augmenta, and it's this system where you can have hardware and software, and you can just like deploy interactivity everywhere in an easy way. And the idea was to do it like, I mean, like you want to do this type interactive, you can do it. You want a wall, table, etc., or immersive space, you can do it easily. That's what we wanted to do, and we did follow exactly the same philosophy than video mapping. So, for example, like okay, let's do like an immersive space together, right? Let's say, okay, we want like a video on that wall, on the floor as well, and we want like this whole immersive space like becoming like interactive. So basically, you're gonna call like a tech company, right? So the tech company will come, and the guy will come. They will put like video projectors everywhere, and the technicians will put the media servers. They will do the video mapping, calibration, etc. And then at the end, you're gonna see like the artist, right? And so the artist will be here and say like, okay, guy, are you the video guy? Is this my show on my USB key? And you're gonna give his show to the guy, to the technical guy, and then you're gonna have a show, right? Like a video spread everywhere on the world, etc. So that's how basically we do like an immersive room those days. And if you want to make it interactive, it's kind of the same. So the tech company would just like deploy the whole interactivity and the sensors, and then you would have the same thing, the artist or the content creator, of course, and he will come with USB key, but this time it's not exactly a video, it can be an app. And now in 2022, you can do video for sure, but you can do apps. And apps, it would be made with Touch Designer, Unreal, Unity, Notch, you name it. And this app will just take interactivity as input and output the video. And so that's how we designed the system, and that's how it worked. And during like those last years, we gave this system to some people, some partners. So they're going to be like spaces in Australia, in Canada, in Europe, and also we theorized like some of them. And so I'm super happy to show you this video because it's the first time you're going to see it. Actually, it's not online. We're going to put it like in a few days. So it's kind of a premiere. So I'm happy to share that with you. And basically here in this video, you have like a lot of projects which were done those last years with Augmenta by us, but also by our partners, other studios, a bit everywhere. So super happy to show you this. So let's play that. Okay, so I guess you understood like how it works. So I mean, and different artists did use it like different ways, like some kind of hack the system and use it like in creative ways. But basically, like what we did so far with it is so people tracking, so you know where people are in space. We did also like wall, so we use different sensors, but we can transform like spaces, like walls, like touch surface. So it can be done like with any size, so there is no limit with the number of people we can actually like position in space, and no limit also like for interactive surface. So you can do like 200 better wall with everybody like touching the wall, and it will just work. And also like we did like use like for tables, like in museums, like there was like lots of use case where we want to track objects or we want to track like people touching tables. And sometimes we also did like kind of like air touch, that's what we call it. It's basically like when we don't want people to touch the surface, but you want them to hover at a distance. And like with the COVID regulations, etc. Some part like we were asked to do like more like I mean, a touch wall, but you don't touch the wall. So that's it. That's what we used it the most. And speaking of tracking data, that's what we got with the techno what we use right now. So of course you have the XY, so the point like in between your feet, so you can draw whatever you want. But you also have like how much people are in the room, which is like super like handy, because you can know that in your immersive space there's like 0, 1, 2, 10, 20, 100 people, and you can do different content. So where there's nobody, you can put like kind of an idle animations. With 1 or 2 people, you can do like really crazy things because you have a lot of space. And with like 10, 20, 100 people, you know the behavior is going to be different, and so you can have like contents they can like just like adapt to the number of people. This is super nice. Also things like the height of people, it's really good because, for example, like you can know I think if it's a kid or somebody very small or somebody like with a high size. And then, for example, if you go close to a wall, then you can like produce like a content that is at the correct height for somebody. Like there was like one project, for example, we had like some kind of a jellyfish, like fantastic jellyfish coming with you, and when you would go through the wall, it would go like on the wall, and then like it would be exactly like at your distance, like in front of your head. And then in this project, you could like touch it, and it would go like doing a little dance and playing music with you, and then coming back and following you into space. So there's lots of data that you cannot use, but it's super fun to imagine like when you know just what people do, it opens like a lot of new possibilities. And then like the workflow, how it looks, real quick, maybe it's a bit more techy, but basically like how we do is like we have this software called Fusion. So it will detect like all the nodes and sensor in space, and then you can just like calibrate it. It's same thing that video mapping, but a bit quicker. And then like you would just like it will fusion automatically the data and will send it to the content. And for the creators, for the artists, there's like a simulator. So the artist will just say, okay, I have a space, it's like 20 meter by 10, and it's that much pixel, and just enter it in the simulator. And then they can simulate people moving in space. So they can do like all the content creation like at home with their laptop, and they can just use at the end the content in the real space. And then like this tracking data, it's sent to all the software you use. So mainly, as I said, like right now, like the hard softwares are really like Notch, Touch, Unity, Unreal, but there's still a lot of very good softwares. There are people doing sound with Ableton Live. There are people doing like light tracking, etc. So people having like mechanic stuff, etc. So basically, just receive the data and you do whatever you want. And then, of course, your content will produce probably video, sound, light, etc. So that's what you've been using, and it works really nice as a workflow. So, for example, you can update the content very easily, and you don't have to change anything technical. You just like update, having new content, etc., and it will just work right away. And also, you can have like contents that will like adapt. Because with a system, like if you have like different size, you can just like doing kind of a responsive content, much like a website, for example, and then you can even design content that will like just like adapt to the place in the space. Let me go through like one use case. So this space, it's been opened like 2 weeks ago in Canada, in Calgary. So it's a good use case because it's the biggest space we did open so far. And it's also a good use case because it's not us who did the content, it's another guys. So the artists were like Eden Creative Studio and Super Independent Studio from Montreal. And they did open that space. So it's an immersive space, but it's a whole exhibition about actually inspired by quantum physics with a lot of artistic content. And it's actually really nice. And basically what happened is like they use like 10 nodes for the space. So the space is like 240 square meter, and the floor was like 6 by 4,000 pixels approximately. And with 10 nodes, they could put like the whole space interactive, so they could know where people were in the whole space. And the nice things is like we just flowed over like 10 nodes. Nobody from our team actually went to Canada, so I didn't go in that space. And in 3 days, they could install the whole setup, and it was the first time using it. So it's really interesting to have this kind of data because it means that size of space, in 3 days, you can just like install it, make it interactive, and it just works. And it did open like 2 weeks ago. And it's been made with Notch, by the way. So this was like the setup, like the 10 nodes were seeing this. And as you can see, like there's like a kind of a hole in the middle because there was like a huge pole in the middle, like kind of a big column in the center. So that's why there's kind of a hole at the beginning. So maybe let's show you. So I have like some videos of it. So they're a bit crappy, but at least I could put my hands on some of videos so I can show you. And same thing, it's not online, so it's kind of exclusivity. If you, you can also do it in Canada. All right. So just to finish, so how we look, in the future, at least like what we try to achieve. Of course, there's a lot, from the artistic point of view to explore, because we try to do some research and to explore lots of things, but there's still so many things we can explore when we have all these inputs of where people are, what they do. So for interactivity, there's so many things we can do. And from the tech point of view, what we're working on is automatic calibration. So basically, if people could press a button and all the space will be calibrated, it's something we are working on right now and should happen. Because as you may know, most of the big media servers right now have automatic calibration for video mapping. And so it totally makes sense that if you have automatic calibration for video mapping, you also have automatic calibration for the interactive part. So hopefully this year, this should come. And also we have some new products also we are imagining right now for same thing, interactivity with people. And new sensors, because every year there's new cameras, new things, so we just put them in the system and people can just buy the new sensors and upgrade what they have without changing anything in the content or even in the technical system. And also our research team is working and we're exploring to use artificial intelligence because actually there's some stuff that can benefit and to have less latency, better detection, etc. Artificial intelligence is very interesting, especially with the tiny chips now that we have that can be super efficient and are made for artificial intelligence algorithms. And also that's one thing we work on right now is how we can have stocks of this worldwide, so it's much more easy for people being in America or Middle East, etc. to have access, and we don't have to fly over from France every time. So that's it. And of course we have communities of people, so we share their work on Instagram. We made YouTube tutorials on YouTube. There's a GitHub with examples of all media servers and etc. and tools that people can download to try. And that's it. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see if anybody wants to know a little bit more about how you do things.
Hi, my name is Thomas Parent. I'm working at a company that is called projection.com. I was working with immersive display and a lot of systems like this for past years, and mainly for the industrials, not as this. But I was wondering, you were speaking at the start of your project, you were working mainly with Kinect cameras, and now are you still working with stereoscopic camera, or are you back to normal cameras with only one captor per camera? And second question, if you wanted to answer also, are you also providing all the material, or are you only providing software?
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, basically, like we work with the Kinect at the beginning, and as you may know, the market of 3D sensors, they move a lot. So there was like a lot of back and forth, like Microsoft like stopped some cameras, and then like they bought like these Israeli companies, and Apple bought other 3D cameras. I mean, basically it was really a mess. Right now we use like Orbeck camera. It's a US brand making 3D cameras, and basically like we support all the 3D cameras on the market that actually make sense for this kind of use case. And when there are like new cameras coming up, you just like support them again, so people can just buy the sensor and upgrade it. And we basically, to answer your question, yeah, like there's like 2 or 3 kind of technologies for making like 3D cameras, and right now it's mostly like same like it's like modulated infrared, so it's same very similar to the first Kinect that we still use, but you can have active stereo, time of flight, etc. And but we just basically use what works from. We have like benches and we do testing, etc. And we just like use a camera that works for the use case I showed. And for the second question, we provide like hardware and software, because like there's this kind of nodes, and those nodes are like tiny computers where you plug the cameras in, or the LiDAR, because we also use LiDARs. And so we sell like the nodes and the software. And the sensor, sometimes we sell it, sometimes people already have it, so it's up to people to choose how they want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, David. Any further questions? Yeah. The microphone is coming. We have several questions in the audience. Nika, run.
I have a broken finger.
And okay, start up, it's fine.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I'm Shayma Al-Hammawi from Morocco. I graduated from Institute of Fine Art, Tetouan. And I always think about, when I think about video mapping and interactivity, I think about that effect that create this technology creates, the wow effect, and the public become so surprised by the effects and stuff. And I'm wondering, how could this affect the artwork itself?
Sorry, I missed like the last word. How does this affect what?
The artwork itself.
Ah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good question with no easy answer. I mean, basically, like this is like an interactive technology, but like as like video projectors are also one technology, it's up to the artist to decide actually like what with kind of technologies or means or mediums he wants to work with. And of course, like the technical constraints are part, I mean, in my opinion, like it's part of the creativity as well, because you have constraint and constraint bring creativity. So technical constraint can bring interactivity. You can use to play it like that, or you can also like design something and take the constraint into account later. So of course, like I mean, all the technologies we used at the same time they brought constraint, at the same time they brought creativity, at the same time sometimes they bring inspirations. For example, when you work with robotics or robots, there's like so many like collective imagination with robots and sci-fi, etc. And then you also can, at the end of it, getting inspired by the technology itself. So for me, like every artist has his own way and own relationship with technology. And in any case, the tool you use will always like shape the final artwork. If it's a tool to make it, or if it's a tool that you still use in the final shape, it will always like shape it for real.
Thanks again. And we have one more question.
Yes. Hi, David. It's Leo from ETC. I have a question because on all your video, it's basically indoors. But is the system is working also in the outdoor with LED screen, or so? Just wondering that if this technology can be also outdoor technology. Thank you.
Thanks. So yeah, basically, like I think almost all the projects we did were indoor, and in terms of outdoors, sometimes you had some requests. Yeah, I mean, it's very specific. Some free cameras, they can be like IP67. I mean, like basically they can put as the LED screens outside. We didn't use them so much for now. And it's the same thing, like it depends what you use, like video projectors, you can still put like a box around and make it like an outdoor project. So we could do the same thing with cameras, or we could switch to cameras that can just stay outdoors like that. So yeah, so I know the computers we use can stay outdoor, so we would need to work on the sensor. But we didn't have that case for now.
Thank you.
Okay, then I think we can close this round. Thank you very much for both of you for being here and sharing what you are working on. Looking forward to see what you are doing in the future. And maybe not only you, but others as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.